Okay, let's get started. Which slide was it? 11. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Tonight we continue discussing Master YongHua's Chanchi Dharma talks, Dharma instructions. He was doing this when he first organized the Chanchi in the US. So he's been telling us about the story of National Master Huiji and Master Xuanzang, their relationships, the conditions, the mutual conditions. I understand there's a question. You wait for me, I don't wait for you. Do you understand? Just not respectful. Yes, go ahead.
Did the master go to the wrong household or intentional?
Okay, so there's some new people here tonight, so for their sake, I will tell you briefly give you the background information. In the Tang Dynasty, that's about the 12th, 13th century, I believe, in China. It's an era where Mahayana Buddhism was thriving. There's a great master called Xuanzang who resolved to go to China to bring back more Mahayana sutras. Okay, there are plenty of Hinayana sutras and texts, but not enough Mahayana sutras. So he said, I need to go to India and bring back all these Mahayana sutras to benefit my people. So the emperor agreed to that, so allow him to go to India. On the way to India, Master Xuanzang, he found a cave where inside that cave there's a man who was meditating, was in samadhi for thousands of years already, to the point where he's covered with dust, thick layer of dust, and even on his top of his head there is a nest of sparrows where they hatch eggs and raise their sparrow babies. And so Master Xuanzang, rang his handheld bell. You see, so you professionals, when you go out there, and you're truly a chant master, you need to bring along with a small, folding handbell, okay? Because that's what you do when you want to help people exit samadhis. You don't shake them, you don't talk to them, you don't pour water over their head. You ring the bell and they will bring you out of samadhi. So these old cultivators exited samadhi and said, and have a talk. And he informed Xuanzang that he was waiting for Shakyamuni Buddha to come to the world so that he could help Shakyamuni Buddha propagate the Mahayana Dharma. Okay, what I'm telling you is a Chinese version, but the Chinese teachers like to tell their people, okay, their students. And so Xuanzang said, but you missed him already. The Buddha appeared over 1,000 years ago in the world already. So the old cultivator then said, okay, too bad. Let me go back into samadhi and I will come out when Maitreya Buddha comes to the world. And Xuanzang somehow managed to convince the old cultivator to stay in the world and help him propagate Shakyamuni Buddha's Buddha Dharma, to which the old cultivator agreed to. And so Xuanzang said, in order for you to help me, your body is too old, okay? So thousands of years old. So you might as well change body, get a healthier body. So I'd like you to go for rebirth to the capital city and go rebirth to this palace with yellow lapis lazuli tiles. So the old cultivator said, okay, no problem, I can do that, okay? And then when you come back from India, I will help you. So when Master Xuanzang came back from India, he asked the emperor, he told the emperor, Your Highness, congratulations for your new son. Okay, now, don't ask me why it has to be a monk and not a nun, okay? Because this is America, my answer would not make a lot of people happy. Okay, so we skip that, okay? Don't ask. Let's stay away from controversy for now, okay? That's your generation. My generation, just allow me, do me a favor, ignore that, the sex part, the gender part, okay? Okay, so anyway, so he said, Your Highness, I congratulate you on having a son. And the emperor said, what son? I didn't have any son. Since you left me and went to India, I have no new addition to my household. Okay, never mind. Okay, so 16 years, I mean, that's really famine, I guess. So Xuanzang was very surprised. So he checked. He he entered samadhi and checked and realized that the old cultivator, mistakenly went for rebirth to the palace with the blue lapis lazuli color roof tiles. And it happens to be the defense minister's palace. Yes?
Chun is saying that for Master's information, Master Xuanzang lived in the 6th century.
6th century, okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I appreciate it.
And also, Master asked yesterday, Tang Xuanzang, why his surname was Tang, is because he lived in the Tang dynasty.
That's how the Chinese addressed them, huh? But why Tang? Why do they bother saying Tang?
From the Tang dynasty.
To me, they're promoting a Tang dynasty for a reason. I don't understand why.
Jane is saying it's Xuanzang or Tang Seng.
Tang Seng? Okay. All right, very good. Thank you very much for your contribution. So that's the Chinese version, okay, that they teach their followers. So anyway, so he realized that the old cultivator went to the defense ministers and became his nephew. Okay, and so last night we were joking about it, and I said, it's not possible for me to believe that the old cultivator who can sit for thousands of years in samadhi, would miss Shakyamuni Buddha's appearance in the world. That's not possible. It's impossible. Okay, for me personally. Okay. So I felt that he was waiting for Xuanzang, for helping Xuanzang to propagate Shakyamuni Buddha's Dharma. When you think about it, when Shakyamuni Buddha appeared in the world, he had so many great bodhisattvas to help him already. You have Manjushri, you have Universal Worthy, you have Guanyin, you have Earth Store, you have so many great bodhisattvas helping him already. Okay, for the old cultivator to help him, and I can guess his level because of this, how the Chinese told the stories, that he would be way, sitting way, very far away from Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, so frankly, he appeared when the Buddha was in the world. He wouldn't be really have that much of an impact. Then he were to come at Xuanzang's time. That's my humble opinion. Okay? So that's the story behind it. So that's why, but to the Chinese, and you kind of sort of a clue because my master told the story in very colloquial, very casual way. Like the interchange between the emperors and so forth. He's too familiar, too colloquial. And to me, it doesn't ring true because even though they have a very close relationship, Xuanzang and the emperor, but the Chinese culture there's certain royal protocol that you don't talk to the emperor like that. It's just sacrilegious. It's just so anyway. So that's why I feel, in my humble opinion, the old cultivator really intentional, really to help Shakyamuni Buddha by assisting Xuanzang. Okay, so he overshot the thing on purpose. Anyway, so now the question is, then some smart aleck and ask, if I don't think he overshot, he didn't mess up with his timing, then could it be he really went to the defense minister's palace for a reason, or was it really a mistake? Okay, so that's the background information. Okay, it's a little bit humorous of a question as well. Okay, what do you think? I'm sure the Chinese say, "Oh, the Chinese master said, it's there, so therefore it's got to be true. The guy made a mistake." But what about the rest of you? Do you believe that he made a mistake? Entered the wrong palace? Well, speak quickly. Yes.
Dạ thưa thầy, hello. Dạ thầy con nghĩ là ông không có mất không có làm sai lầm cái chỗ đó. Tại vì nếu như mà ông mà đi vào cung điện của nhà vua mà đẻ ra con á, thì nhà vua sức mấy mà để cho ông xuất gia. Mà thêm một phần ông vào bên nhà tượng á, ông lại không có muốn vào con của nhà tượng, ông vào cháu thôi à. Dạ ông làm như vậy thì dễ giúp cho ngài Huyền Trang xin hơn.
Yeah. This guy has some royal connection. He says if he were born into the household of the emperor, what makes you think? How can you be sure that the emperor will allow him to shave his head? Agree? Suppose this monk here was born in the emperor's family. He's probably will be very handsome, very smart, very, okay? And the emperor might fall in love with him and say, "Okay, I will name you the crown prince now." Okay? It will be a real disaster. So, absolutely, you agree? I mean, that Xuanzang made a mistake. He should have not sent him to the emperors, and this guy corrected him. He said, I'm not going to this emperor's household. I'm going to go to defense minister's household. You agree with that? Very good, I agree. Okay. Can you think of another reason why he would go to the defense minister's household and not the emperor's household? Equally important. Anyone else? Blue.
Master, reason I think he went to the household, not the emperor, because he's a better cultivator, I think.
He's a better cultivator. No, those people, the royalties, they don't cultivate. Otherwise, they wouldn't be royals. Anyone else? Come on. Why would you, I'm asking you, why would you avoid becoming a prince, a royal prince, but just a nobility? Why would you do that? Hello, you know? You should know. This guy should know. Why? Yes. I cannot tell. Is it red or orange? Orange, thank you. The light's very bright, so I can't really distinguish colors clearly. Yes?
Master, could it be that he had more freedom
Freedom?
by not
Than the
than
emperor?
the emperor?
Really?
Well,
How so?
have less restrictions on him. You know, like an emperor, they have more responsibilities, or
Responsibilities? More responsibilities?
as an emperor.
No, in the household, the emperor is not the emperor.
Oh,
More freedom? More responsibilities? You agree? Anyone else? Come on quickly. Time is running out. We almost used up half an hour already. Yeah? Come on. I'm testing to see any of you has royal, connections. Yes, internet.
Maybe he can be easily murdered as a prince.
He can be easily murdered as a prince. Okay, possible. Okay, another reason.
Nobility cannot make everyone happy.
Nobility cannot make everyone happy. Possible. I tell you my personal interpretation, the unauthorized version of the biography of Master Guiji. Okay, the old cultivator. Later he became a national Master Guiji. He's highly revered in Chinese Buddhism. So only my unauthorized version of his biography. Okay, please take it with a grain of salt. Of course, I feel that he deliberately went to the defense minister's household for two major reasons. Number one, as was pointed out earlier, right on, is that you don't want to go to the emperor's household because the emperor would see that he's a better, much higher potential than his own crown prince, which would be a real disaster. Okay, so yes, absolutely, Xuan Zhang's thinking is incorrect. You see, this guy's helping Xuan Zhang because Xuan Zhang doesn't quite have the big picture. Okay, so he corrected Xuan Zhang. He chose to go away from the household. He happened to choose the defense minister's household. All right? Why this is defense minister? Because he can have a lot more fun there. You see, he hasn't had fun for thousands of years. Think about it. Couldn't enjoy good food, couldn't enjoy good wine, couldn't enjoy, I don't know what else. But he really deprived himself for thousands of years. So now it's time to make up very quickly. All right? Now, if he was born in a royal household, okay, you know what happens? You're under scrutiny 24 hours a day. Because you haven't been into an emperor's private quarters yet. Okay, they observe it from four walls. So at night, 24 hours a day like this. Okay, so there is really, when you think about it, there is no freedom at all. Yes, you have all the power, but there are things that you don't have. You have no real privacy. Okay, someone is aware if you unhappy or look make a small scream, people will immediately come in because they're watching you, listening to you, okay? And the places you can't go, where if you were the son of the minister, you can go anywhere you please. You have almost the same power as the emperor's household. Okay? So you can have so much more fun. See? This old cultivator is very clever. So that's why he chose to go there. It's by design, I feel, personally. Okay? All right. So now we're at slide 11, where this nephew here was forced by the emperor to shave his head, and so he says, "Okay, if I don't obey this edict, royal edict, my head will be chopped off. So I better go and see the emperor and try to talk him out of it." So he's negotiating with the emperor, and he says, "I have 3 conditions. You want me to leave the home life? I've just asked for 3 favors. And first favor is I want a cart full of wine. Second favor is have a cart full of meat that must be fresh, daily fresh. And finally, I want a cart full of women." And so that's where we are at slide 11. Continue, please.
皇帝说啊，真是啊，出家人怎么可以要美女呢？
There's a B left there, yeah.
The,
Left out.
the emperor said, "This is so. How can left-home people wanting pretty woman
B wanting pretty women.
be wanting pretty woman?"
但是玄奘又叫他答应他，于是乎他说好。
But Dharma Master Xuanzang already told him to allow him. Thus he said,
第3个条件我也答应你，现在你应该出家了。
"Okay, the third condition I also agree to. Now you should leave the home life."
这个尉迟恭这个侄子，他以为这3个条件1个条件皇帝都不会应承他。
This Yu Chigong's nephew erroneously thought that the emperor wouldn't agree to any of these 3 conditions.
想不到啊，3个条件他都答应了，答应了，这回就要出家喽。
To his surprise, the emperor agreed to all 3. Then this time he had to leave the home life.
皇帝就给他预备1车美女，1车酒，1车肉，这3个车，送他去出家去。
The emperor then prepared a cart of pretty women, a cart of wine, and a cart of meat. These 3 carts are sent to him so that he can leave the home life.
这时候文武百官呢，很多的这个出家人呢，都知道了，那么他就奉旨送他到庙上去出家，到大。
This time, the civil and military officials, many left-home people, all knew about this. Then he followed the edict, went to the temple to live the home life.
兴善寺，这个大兴善寺，从那个方丈到这个山门口啊，有10个 mile 这么长的路。
To Da Xingshan Temple, great thriving goodness temple. This Da Xingshan Si, from the abbot's room to the mountain gate, was 10 miles.
所以你每一天晚间关这个山门呢，要骑着马去关山门的。
So every night to close the mountain gate, need to ride a horse to go close to the gate.
从这个皇城啊送他去出家，在这大兴善寺后边呢。
Then from this imperial city to send him, Yu Qigong's nephew, to live the home life at this Da Xingshan Si.
也听见这个大兴善寺里边呢，钟鼓齐鸣，就打这鼓啊，撞钟啊。
Inside the Da Xingshan Si, one can hear bells and drums ringing together. They thus bend the drums and hit the bells.
这是有庙上有大的法事了，就要撞钟打鼓啊。
This is a temple having a large Dharma assembly. They usually hit the bell and drum.
那个钟不是像俺们这么小的这个钟，那个钟大要有这么。
Because that bell is not like our bell, which is so small. That bell probably has
那个钟扣到地下可以有10几个人都站在这钟里边都可以的，那么大的钟啊。
That bell, when put on the floor, one can fit over 10 people standing inside that bell. It's that big of a bell.
那鼓也很大的，这个鼓啊钟可以差不多有10里路远都可以听得见。
This drum is very big too. This drum, similar to the bell, can be heard from about 10 miles away.
有10个 mile 都可以听得见这个钟和这鼓的声音。
Even 10 miles still can hear the sound of this bell and this drum.
他在这个庙后边来了，一听这个庙上钟鼓这一响，赫然间开悟。
When Yu Qigong's nephew came to the back of this temple, once he heard this temple's drum and bell sound, he suddenly had an awakening.
哦，原来我是那个老修行啊，头上蓄着那么多桥，在头上啊抱窝啊，我在那入定。
Oh, originally I was that old cultivator. There were so many sparrows on my head making nests. I entered samadhi there.
我答应这个玄奘法师来帮着他弘扬佛法啊，他得了许命通了。
I agreed to this Dharma master Xuanzang to help him propagate the Buddha Dharma. he got the penetration of the knowledge of past lives.
然后就向后边人摆手，说：“你这个车都回去了，我不要了。”啊，
Then he waved his hand behind and said, "All these cards go back. I don't want them."
这个美女也不要了，酒也不要了，肉也不要了，啊，就都把这个三车，就都打发回去了。
These pretty women also don't want wine, also don't want meat, also don't want. He then sent all these 3 cards back.
所以呀、在中国有这个叫魁济祖师，就叫三车祖师。
Because of this story, when he was living the home life, so in China, people call this Kuiji patriarch the 3 cards patriarch.
三个车，因为他出家的时候，三车祖师。
3 cards, because when he was living the home life, he became the 3 cards patriarch.
这魁济法师啊，最聪明啊，他能目下10行字，耳听百人音。
This Dharma master Kuiji is the smartest. The eye can see 10 lines of characters, the ear can listen to 100 people's voices.
怎么叫目下10行字呢？就是你看这一行字他可以看10行。
What is the eye can see 10 lines of characters? This is, you read 1 line of characters, he can read 10 lines of characters.
看得快，比你快10倍。你读这个英文，你1个钟头读完了这一本。
Read very fast, 10 times faster than you. You read this English. You finish reading it in an hour, this book.
他甚至于10分钟就读完了，甚至于5分钟，他把这一本就看完了，读完了，不是。
He finished reading even in 10 minutes or even in 5 minutes. He finished reading it.
马马虎虎这么看，也一个字一个字看，但是他看得快。
It's not reading carelessly. This is also reading character by character, but he reads very fast.
耳听百人音你这100个人同时说话，
The ear listens to 100 people's voices, 100 people speaking simultaneously.
他也分别的清楚你讲什么，他讲什么。
He can also distinguish clearly what you said, what he said.
不是像我们这儿，有2个人讲话，你就听不清楚了，那个是说什么了，我们这太笨了。
Not like us, 2 people talking, you cannot listen clearly what the person is saying. We are too stupid.
魁济祖师就帮着玄奘法师翻译经典，翻译很多很多经典，所以
Then Kuiji Patriarch helped Dharma Master Xuanzang translating sutras, translated many, many sutras.
玄奘法师所翻译的经典呢， 多数是魁具祖师来帮着翻译。
So sutras translated by Dharma Master Xuanzang, most of them were helped by Kuiji Patriarch.
这个老修行在那儿做了几千年，甚至于万年以上。
This old cultivator sit there for several thousands of years, even over 10,000 of years.
10,000 of years of bliss. He's extremely happy for 10,000 of years or several thousands of years. Don't think he's sitting there and wasting time and being miserable and losing weight. No, he's extremely happy. He's so happy, that's why he couldn't wait to get back into samadhi. He says, if I miss Shakyamuni Buddha, then I go back to my samadhi. Okay? He's more interested in his samadhis than exiting the samadhi. And just a comment about what happened. So he went to shave his head, and all these guards were following him. And so they rang this bell. And from hearing this bell here, he enters samadhi. That's why he's able to, so the bell, the sound of the bell itself, help him enter this deep samadhi. And he's able to remember the past, okay? So that's why you see in Mahayana, in Chan, you have this is another instance of sudden enlightenment right there, where he didn't cultivate at all. He was actually goofing off, having a good time on wine, on meat, and on girls. And he's doing it with abandon. You know what with abandon means? No holding back. Okay? So he really went all out, lived life to the fullest. And so he really has a good time, really had a good time. But when he heard this bell here, the big bell and drums and all that all the Dharma instruments being hit, okay, that not only the sound but also the vibrations of the sound carrying through, it has the effect of creating an awakening inside of him. That awakening is instant enlightenment, just from listening, just from hearing the bell. As a proof right there, for us, we have so many ways to reach certain enlightenment. Okay, it's possible. And he said for several thousands of years. He's extremely happy for several thousands of years. And compare that, for example, with the Chinese Taoists, where they can live for 10,000 years or more. Those 10,000 of years are really a life of misery. You know, they still have the body, they need to bathe, they need to eat, and so forth. And you have to realize that when this Venerable Kuiji entered this samadhi, that joy, the bliss that he derived from that far exceeded all the wine and the women and the meat. That's why he said, no, this is no longer that interesting to me. That's why. It's not nonsense, folks. Okay? This guy is very smart. He's a real playboy, Chinese playboy, you will. It should be called Tang, Chinese playboy. Okay? So he went, believe it or not, Joseph, from being a Tang Dynasty Chinese playboy, in one instant, he became a great monk. Isn't that cool? So, it's so Mahayana. It's so cool. That's why you sort of have to understand why the Chinese are so respectful. They don't dare explaining the playboy side of this monk. But in doing so, they preserve the politeness and the veneration of the followers. But they miss out on this beautiful aspect of cultivation, of life. Okay, continue, please.
他也不觉得腿痛腰酸的，也不觉得辛苦，所以啊，你坐这20几个钟头，这不算一回事。
He also didn't feel leg pain, back sore, also didn't feel the hardship. So, we sit here for over 20 hours. It's not a big deal.
不要认为这是不得了的，你无论什么事情，你认为它很平常，不是很重要的，就没有麻烦。
You shouldn't think this is a big deal. No matter what, you should consider it as normal. Not very important. Then no trouble.
有认为这是很不得了的一件事，很重要的，那就很多麻烦。
If you think this is a big deal, very important, then there are lots of trouble.
所以这修行啊，要忍苦，也要忍痛，不要怕腿痛。
So this cultivation, need to endure suffering, also need to endure pain. Don't be afraid of leg pain.
腿痛，你现在怕腿痛，你要如果不修行，不关上地狱门，不关上恶鬼道。
Leg pain. Now you're afraid of leg pain. If you do not cultivate, do not close the hell door, do not close the hungry ghost realm.
不关上畜生道，那将来那痛苦更厉害。所以
Do not close the animal realm. Then in the future, that pain will be even more severe.
我们现在能以忍一时的痛，得永远的快乐，得到永远的快乐。
So now we can endure pain for a moment to gain forever happiness, to gain forever happiness.
你们在座的各位善知识，我不知道哪一位好像那个三车祖师这种的根基，也不。
All you good knowing advisors sitting here, I don't know which one is like that 3 quarts patriarch, that type of root.
不知道哪一位啊？好像无车祖师啊，那个来历。
Also don't know which one is like that 5 cards patriarch, that background.
所以你们个人呢，要向前勇猛精进，啊，不要落人后，啊。
So, each one of you need to go forward fiercely and vigorously. Do not fall behind.
或者你们前生有的是比丘，或者有的是比丘尼，啊，或者有的比丘变成比丘尼。
In your previous life, some were bhikshu, or some were bhikshuni, or some were bhikshu turned into bhikshuni.
或者有的比丘尼变成比丘，这都没有一定的。
Or some were bhikshuni turned into bhikshu. This is not fixed.
那么你们各位啊，都要打起精神来，啊，把一切的这困苦艰难呢，都打破了，你就会有所成就了。
Everybody need to bring up the spirit to break through all this difficult suffering and hardship. Then you will have some achievement.
See, he talks very casually about this, but this is a very important principle. What principle is that? It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be something that you don't like to do because it's suffering and because it's difficult. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be pleasant. He's the only teacher I know of, alive, who teaches meditation like that. He's the only monk who teaches meditation like that. Okay? When you think about the famous monks and nuns who are teaching out there, they all shy away from talking about hardship, suffering, difficulties, pain, discomfort, all those things, including his own disciples. Because no one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear the truth. No one wants to hear the secret to making progress. You want to make progress, you have to suffer. You cannot be comfortable. That's why he's never that popular when he was alive. Not too many people appreciated that. And to me, it's sad that his own disciples didn't really appreciate his teaching. That's why they didn't carry on the teaching, okay, that they should have stressed the fact that it's hard. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. If you really want to have breakthroughs, significant breakthroughs, it's supposed to be difficult. Okay? And for that, as a side note, I'm very proud of you. You followed me for 10, 15 years. Many of you more than 10 years. And 10 years plus of hardship. Okay, challenges. And yet you still hang in there. You still didn't quit. That speaks very highly of you. Because honestly, folks out there, you who are not left home people, my left home people disciples are under great stress, under a lot of hardship, because if you are not willing to endure suffering, how can you really help others? Because when you help others, okay, that means you have to take on their suffering. You have to shoulder their burden. You have to relieve the suffering by taking on the suffering. There is no other way. People talk about helping others, okay? Talking about these ideals helping others. Okay? And these people are into philanthropy, into charity work and so forth. But they are not willing to take on the suffering. To me, when I read about Vincent van Gogh's, one of the painters I really, really love. When he was in his younger days, he decided to help others. So what did he do? He left the home life. He became a priest, Catholic persuasion, and he was sent after training. He was sent to this town to take care of this tiny church in a town of miners, very poor miners, destitute miners. And even though he had no samadhi powers, no training, whatever, but he gave everything he has to help those poor families. He gave his own allowances. He used his own allowances to buy food for these families and their children. Okay, so he suffered the hunger, he suffered the cold, he suffered the hardship, suffered walking without shoes. Okay, and to me, that is true helping. And after that, he couldn't take it anymore. He nearly died. So he was discharged, and he came back to lay life and went to painting. My point being that, number one, okay, you really want to help someone, okay, you have to take on the hardship and the suffering. And that's true help. How can you go to a place, poor people, and they don't have food to eat and they don't have enough clothes, and you give them money, you take a photo with them, and you go back to your, in Seattle, to your $30 million compound. Huh? So the point being that you for us, you understand how to help. You really want to help people, you need to feel the suffering. You need to take on the suffering. And we're training you to do that. It's no BS. You can't take the suffering, it's not meant for you. The way of Mahayana. Okay? And it's not all suffering, to be honest with you. But it's to help you overcome the fear of suffering. If you can overcome a fear of suffering, you will experience tremendous bliss. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where you can go like to the state of Guiji, who can sit there for a long, long time and feel extremely, extremely happy, extremely blissful. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're teaching you. Not because we're insane and think you're stupid. Okay? It's because your own benefit. You will experience far greater bliss. And that's proven in the story of this three-card patriarch. He's a real playboy. There's nothing he misses out of life. Okay? And you look at the baby there, right? She's suffering, is hurting, but that's the price you have to pay in order to increase your bliss, your happiness. How come is that you want to make money, you're willing to suffer and abandon your family, your wife, your children, and so forth, to make $1 million more? And feel miserable with that additional $1 million? Okay? Whereas you endure these leg pains and the back pains, you will experience a kind of joy and bliss that you can never experience through material things, with material things. And that's exactly what happened to the three-card patriarch. Okay? He's very attached to all these worldly pleasures. Okay? All these pleasurable sensations. A real Chinese playboy, you will. Okay? And yet, when he entered Samadhi, he said, wow, this is it. He's not stupid. He says, this is it. I think Master YongHua says, yeah, I remember past lives, but no. In my own version of this story, I say, wow, it's fantastic. This bliss, this pleasure I'm experiencing is so much better than the delicacies in life, these good wine, and what else? I don't know. Okay, so you see, it's real to this guy. All right, thank you. The time is up. Any questions? Yes.
Master, on slide 53, why did it mention the 5-card patriarch?
5-card patriarch. Can you think of 2 more cards? I can think of 2 more cards easily. I can think of 10 more cards, you ask me. Yes, 5 fingers, waving hands. Every night is like a new style of drawing attention from Korea.
매일 밤마다 이렇게 된다.
Yeah.
When I say hello, the new people.
Should
new
have
people
a
wanna say
more
hello.
adorned way of drawing attention when school. These American level people, they're crazy. You know, they're so agitated. Yeah. No, in general, we're very still.
나처럼 원래 이러면 안 되는 거야. 부드럽게.
Go on, go ahead.
헬로 인사.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
He is a volunteer to help people who die without family or refusing family to have a proper funeral in Buddhist style. 이름을 말씀해.
김덕환.
김덕광, Mr. 김덕광.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
He's an engineer. He meditates since 2004. He came from Seoul this morning. He's gonna stay overnight and cultivate with us.
Wow. Oh, very nice. Very good. 안녕하세요. Welcome.
Okay, 그다음에 she came from Pohang, close to Busan, far away. She came this morning.
Wow.
최수희.
Yeah, so many people. Yes. 안녕하세요.
뭐 하신다고 했죠? She worked for the government office.
Okay.
와,
Very
그
good.
인사를 안 했지. She's my old friend from salsa dancing club. Member. She's a local for Cheongju and she's meditating with us.
Okay. Okay.
Bonnie,
Hello,
Bonnie.
hello.
Her name is Bonnie.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
And then Imme's son came and visited. Imme's young son with his girlfriend came.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
hanging out outside.
Hello. Hello.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
오케이, 다 같이 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Okay, good night everyone. Thank you.
다시 봐요.